Great run.
Yeah, you had a magnificent run. I mean, I don't think there's been a team.
There never will be, not what we had.
No.
Do you believe that we said the following? Did you take a bath today? Why? Is there one missing? And we made $8 million one year.
I'm laughing.
Okay?
I'm laughing.
I mean, we had the unmitigated gall, the temerity to stand up and do that joke. Well, it wasn't the joke. It was that we had that kind of guts.
Yeah.
And they saw the love that these two guys had for one another and the fun that they had doing it.
Right.
So it's really never what you say. Attitude is the key to your success.
Yeah. So now you're on your own. You make these wonderful movies that I know about. See, as a kid, I didn't know about Martin and Lewis. I only knew about Jerry Lewis.
We missed you, huh?
Yeah, you missed me. I came around in 55. I don't mind saying that.
That's okay.
You know, I'm proud of 1955. It was a good year. But the things I remember, and I'm bringing you a message also from Kirstie Alley because I saw her, and we were talking about men. And she mentioned the Nutty Professor and Cinderella, which is, you know, that's the heartthrob one for us. So Kirstie sends her love.
Thank you.
But Cinderella and Ed Wynn and all that string of movies were wonderful. And kids everywhere, young people, adults, everybody loved them. You went to France.
Mm-hmm.
They gave you the tribute that you should have gotten here and still should get here, but I won't get into that. And then the world started shifting filmatically.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, the world started to do the kinds of things, or at least demand the kinds of things that leave some of us behind because we wouldn't change. We wouldn't redirect our creative process. For example, I received scripts that asked me to portray characters that were against my nature. And I couldn't believe some of the things that I was seeing, and I found a terrible time in creating. I started as a writer, and I've been a writer all my life. I can't write the things they want me to write. I've had deal memos about mega numbers if I would write such and such, and then play such and such. I can't play a psychopathic, heterosexual, homophobic fruitcake who needs a lobotomy, a limp hair lip, and hates the Japs and the Germans, but is basically anti-Semitic if he drinks as much as he takes shots. And I can't play that guy, see? And it got to a point where I said, well, I'll just lay back and wait because the circle always turns.
Right.
What goes around comes around. You can just see so many shots of two nude people in a bed.
Right.
You can see just so much of the nudity and hear so much of the language that you're going to finally go back to basics because you get a belly full of that, and it happens very quickly.
Right.
George Burns ain't 95 by accident. You'll always come back to that kind of humor.
Depending on who you talk to in Hollywood, they will either say, Jerry Lewis, or they'll go, ooh, Jerry Lewis.
Sure.
Are you hard to work with? Because I'm hard to work with. I mean, I have a very difficult reputation. I'm not difficult. I am difficult, but I'm not like difficult. Are you difficult or difficult?
I'm as difficult as anybody that wants it right. I'm as difficult as it is for anyone that hates incompetence. And there isn't a technician on a crew that likes incompetence any more than you and I.
Yeah.
But you never get it from your technicians and from your crew and the people that you have around you in your life. It's those that are not on the crew. That's where the rumors start. Now, I'll tell you who the other difficult people are. I didn't know you were one, but I'm glad to have you in the club.
Thanks.
Robert Redford's difficult. Barbra Streisand is difficult. Frank Sinatra is difficult. You want me to tell you who's not difficult? Troy Donahue.
You're right.
He's not difficult. Nobody has any problems with him.
You can just go leave that in my lap, huh?
You bet.
Okay.
Because that says it all.
Yes. In 1972, you made a film called The Day the Clown Cried. It takes place in a concentration camp during World War II. And it's never come out. Now, what happened? Why hasn't it been released? I mean, I think it would be really good for the public to see, especially now.
Problem, Whoopi, was that we did what they call a French-Swedish co-production. And that co-production was a very, very strong financial marriage between the French and the Swedish governments. Right. At the time that I did the film, which was 1972, Louis Malle was in Sweden doing a film. Ingmar Bergman was doing a film. Right. And their two films are dead because they were doing topical films in 1972. The only reason that I have a prayer is because I was doing a film on the Holocaust. And the clown that was paid by the Germans to entertain the children in the concentration camps so that the people in the town didn't hear how terrified they were. He, of course, ends up leading them into the ovens, goes in with them. It was a marvelous film, and I got to just editing when they shut the door on the project. Now, I've tried everything from, I put half of my money into the film, or I should say my money into half of the film, which is still sitting there. I can kiss that goodbye if we don't pull it out of there. The Swedish and French co-producing syndrome has never been resolved. And I repeat, Louis Malle is sitting with a $7 million film. At that time, was a humongous budget. And Ingmar's film is sitting there too. If they came up with an answer tomorrow, those two films are dead. Mine would have a chance. All I have to do is finish the editing, go into post-production, score it, and I've only got maybe 6 weeks or 8 weeks work on it. And I play a 78-year-old has-been clown. And you want to talk about dramatics, I'll show you some footage. It's pretty dramatic. I had to lose 50 pounds so that I looked 120 pounds. And I had all the clothes made oversized, the prisoners' outfits and so on, so that I really looked emaciated. It's a very, very stark, very revealing piece of work. It should be seen.
Yeah, it should.
Because the neo-Nazis are starting up again in Germany.
Yeah. And you know, as I was reading your story of setting the scene, the last scene in the film with the trying to figure out how to get the kids to you before you started filming, children flock to clowns no matter what because they feel safe with them.
Yes, of course.
Why? Why is that?
Well, because the mask tells them that it's fun and that it's safe. And regular people, I think, in the eyes of children, they project a look that very often a child will need time to understand.
Right.
And adults don't generate instant love. It takes them a little time, too. And in defense of the adult, a child can be very intimidating. And also in defense of an adult, a child can be very aware very quickly.
Yeah.
There's an old expression that I wrote in a screenplay years ago. That's an old expression to me now, but if you really want to find out about who's visiting your home, have them there with your baby or a puppy.
Right.
The baby will move that way and the puppy will be under the couch. You better know you got problems.
Or if it's a really bad person, the puppy will leave something for the visitor, along with the baby.
I hope so.
Yes. Now listen, you're into sports. You have a lot of why didn't you become a baseball? You're like the baseball king. I'm listening to you talk about all this stuff. Who have you played with?
I played with 11 of the major leagues clubs. I have 11 uniforms to prove it. I have video, I have film, I have stills, suiting up. I've gone to Giant training camp in Phoenix for 8 weeks at a time and worked out with them. I played in exhibition games, inter-squad games. I hit a single and I walked when I played with the Houston Astros for Leo DeRocha years ago.
Leo DeRocha?
Yeah. I played with the Chicago Cubs when Leo was managing the Cubs. I played with the Giants when Leo was managing the Giants. And I played with the Astros when Leo managed the Astros.
What was he like?
Oh, he was something else. He was absolutely out of Damon Runyon. He was absolutely impeccable the way he dressed and was sharp and just so natty. I mean, he was something else. And then what would come out of his mouth. You know, we're going to eat, you're going to sit. You're going to sit, not eat. You're going to drink and eat, or you're going to not. That was Leo. And he was
It's
just...
a couple of my husbands. He was married to him.
He was just Mr. Plain.
Yeah.
Just nothing put on about Leo. He let you see exactly what there was. Marvelous man.
Yeah. Did he ever join you in any of the telethons that you did for muscular dystrophy?
In New York, he did a couple of times. As a matter of fact, I wrote him into a film that I wrote, and The Errand Boy. I used him and he loved it. Oh, my God. I had to get him a trailer, had to get him a valet. He insisted upon being picked up in a limo. We did it all. He sounded like he was kidding, but he meant it.
Yeah.
He wanted the flowers and all of the champagne, and I did it all. It was marvelous. It cost me a fortune. It was worth it.
You know, I really like the man that's going to be on the Whoopi Goldberg show. Burt Reynolds, you ought to check it out. Could be hot.
Some night you come to Vegas when I'm appearing there. And you see me do all that nonsense, including playing drums and dancing. I do everything. It's incredible.
Oh, that'd be great. Listen, I have to tell you, if I was going to spend a half an hour, there's nobody I'd rather spend it with than you.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming. Have a safe night. Good night.